Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant, and today I'm having a look at the Engineers, which was released onto the live servers late yesterday evening. Now, there's a whole bunch of new things introduced with this patch. You've seen quite a few videos that I've released during the beta period covering some of that, but today I want to have a look at the Engineers themselves, which are gated behind certain requirements you need to meet. Now, when you first log into the game, you will get 3 messages here introducing you to the initial Engineers themselves. Now, if you look at the right information panel, you'll be able to have a look at the Engineers. It's down there on the bottom right. You can see it says View Engineers, and it will introduce you to 5 of the Engineers here. 2 of them are logged. Now, you'll also be able to see what they actually require. The text is a little bit dark here. Unfortunately, that's due to the custom UI colours I've got, but hopefully it should be a bit brighter on your screen. So the first 2 Engineers here are exploration orientated. They upgrade your thrusters as well as FSD, Felicity and Elvira that is. Todd the Blaster is a weapons expert. You can get access to him by handing in some bounty vouchers, so at the moment he's probably the easiest one to actually get access to. Felicity requires metal alloys and Elvira requires Soontil Relics. Both of these are relatively difficult to get, and they certainly will be very difficult to get if you don't know where to look. And unfortunately, the game doesn't give any indication at all as where to go and get these things. So you'll either be relying on a YouTube video like this one, searching Google, or looking on the forums or Reddit, I guess. There has been some information on these things on the in-game news board, the Galnet, but at this point it's probably going to be quite hard to find that specific information. So what we're going to look for then is the metal alloys, and these can be found on the alien structures, the Barnacles. This is the Merope system, or Merope, and this planet is 5C. There is a Barnacle here, and this one was the first discovered. Now, chances are you won't be able to use this specific Barnacle to get the metal alloys, and I'll get to why in just a bit. But what this will do is serve as how to locate them. You can see on your heads-up display there on the UI on the bottom right, just below your height indicator, your altitude indicator, there's some location markings. These are effectively a longitude and latitude, and they indicate precise locations on a planet, and you can use them to locate specific things, in this case the Barnacles. This Barnacle is located at -26 and -156, and I'll put those locations in, or those coordinates, in the video description below. So unfortunately, as I was saying, you can't probably use this specific one because it seems to be all mined out. Now, the Barnacle is the centre structure there, and the little stumps here that are like spires, and those are usually shot at by SRVs and they explode, leaving behind various materials as well as sometimes metal alloys. This particular structure hasn't got the spires, and sometimes you'll turn up at a Barnacle and find that the spires have already been destroyed. They'll have a load of remains scattered around the area here, but that doesn't seem to be the case. If it has been destroyed though, you can just simply log out and log back in a different mode, and you'll see it respawn, but that's not happening here either. So it looks like it's mined out, and that particular player there has obviously thought the same and heading off perhaps to a different location. So there are some other Barnacles located within this particular region of space, but those ones are bugged. They do have spires, but when you destroy them, they don't drop metal alloys. Michael Brooks has confirmed that as a bug today. And as a stopgap, they're going to put the metal alloys available on the commodities market here in Daniel's Progress in the Maya system. The other engineer then, Elvira, she requires Soontil Relics in order to access her. Unfortunately, you can't get them either. The Soontil Relics are normally available in the Ngurii system. Again, I'll link that in the video description below. But that system is currently in a state of war, and that means that rare items like the Soontil Relics are not available on the commodities market. Now, once again, Michael Brooks has posted on the forums about that and said that Frontier will issue a change in that system which will enable a reduced amount of those particular relics to be available on the commodities market while the system is in a state of war. But if players want access to a higher quantity of those commodities, then they're going to need to assist in getting that particular system out of a state of war. So, for now at least, it would seem the only engineer we can easily access is Todd the Blaster McQueen, and all he needs is bounty vouchers. One of the other changes brought in is missions, and of course the Rob Ego runs are now dead at the moment. The station has been hit by the unknown artifact and it doesn't have a bulletin board anymore. But if you go to some of the other stations, you will find some quite high paying missions there, as you've seen in the previous few seconds of footage. Now, both Darniel's Progress and Obsidian Orbital have access to these high power missions via the Anthill mob, and there are a number of other stations out there as well in some other systems. You just need to look around for them. But if you want high power missions, they are still in the game, and in fact many of the other missions are now much high paying too. Missions are now no longer gated by your elite ranking, so you can access any level of mission. They're just gated instead by reputation, but that's not too hard to overcome. If you can increase your reputation with a faction, you should be able to get access to the high paying missions. And there are many different types of missions now that are paying out good money. Many are paying 1 million credits, some paying 2 million credits, and some even more than that. And these missions are dotted all around human inhabited space. You just need to take a look. Just seek out the factions that you already have a good reputation with if necessary. Now, here's one rather intriguing change that has been introduced into patch 2.1 and patch 1.6 on the live servers. I'm here on the Maya system. You can see its location in relation to inhabited space there. The particular change I'm talking about is in Barnard's Loop. Barnard's Loop is the large horseshoe-shaped nebula that you can see within human inhabited space. Within that area is a whole bunch of other nebula. Particularly here is the Horsehead Nebula, one of the most interesting and gorgeous looking nebula in the game. This is an area I've visited many times before, but what happens now is that all these systems are permit locked and they require an unknown permit, so there's no known way of actually getting access to these areas now. And this isn't the only area that's become permit locked. There's another 6 or so around this area that are also permit locked, and they probably will require different permits as they're different regions. Now, like many players, I've been to the Horsehead Nebula a good few times, and you can see some footage here of my previous trips there. This is actually a beautifully handcrafted area. There are a few procedural nebulas here, but for the most part it's all handcrafted and hand placed. It's very easy to see the amount of love and effort that Frontier have put into this area, and I've said for a long time that they weren't intending to do that, clearly weren't intending to do that without having some reason to do that. They want players coming out here for some reason. So the question really is, what is inside these permit locked regions? Well, I have visited these, so I do have some system data available for them, but obviously I can't get back into them now, so I can't get updated system information. But let's have a quick look at what is in some of these systems. So some landable planets, 3 in fact in this one, but as you can see there's nothing down on the surface of these planets. But that could simply be because, well, without going back there, we can't get updated information for them. So are these the domains of certain engineers, or are they the inhabited space of certain species of aliens? And if they do belong to aliens, are these regions now going to be locked out for many months until those aliens actually appear, or are the aliens going to make an appearance much sooner than expected? As always with Frontier and Elite Dangerous, only time will tell. I'll be back soon with some more videos. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time. Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and this is Elite Dangerous. The latest patches, the Engineers patch 2.1 as well as patch 1.6 are due on the live servers later today. Now, they may already be there by the time you watch this video, but there's also the possibility that you still could be waiting for them a bit longer. In either event though, I thought it worthwhile to have a look over the past few weeks of beta and talk about some of the points and some of the things you can go out there and check for yourselves now.